We're breaking down anything and everything Utica City FC related. This is the Keeper's Corner podcast with your hosts, Matt Sterling and Brandon Brooks. Let's get into it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 100th edition of the Keeper's Corner podcast. 100. Brandon, you ever think we'd make it this far?
I'm not even sure if anybody can see me.
Oh.
I'm looking at my NDI and it's just, hey, I don't even know if you can. I see my audio coming through, but I sure as heck don't see my video.
No.
So let me try and reset it. But
okay.
Of course, it wouldn't be one of ours if something didn't go wrong.
Well, all that means is that we're ready to be broadcast on Golazo.
You know, that's a low blow, but you're right.
You were confirming that you are not visible.
Yeah, no.
There's a big old Skype logo though.
Yep, that's what I'm seeing too. And I'm not sure.
The resize.
Yeah, it's me just
trying to figure it out. Go over to. I can see you on Skype, so. This is some wonky stuff.
Mo NDI, but this plugin, it's evil and it hates me. And yeah. Why are you doing this to me? It was just working. Not even 2 minutes ago. It was working just fine. And then all of a sudden it said, no. So let me do this. Okay. I'm literally just going to delete it.
Do what you gotta do to try to get your network device interface working. Oh, okay. Well, we won't find out until like 45 seconds later when someone will put it in the chats, because we also can't see anything really. What do I want to do? No, I want comments available. Pop out. There we go. That's better. Yeah, so everybody, we're just stuck rebooting a little something from Brandon, and we'll be back as soon as we can.
I could show two of you.
No, one of me is more than enough, really. It is. We are doing what we're doing. Just a little struggle bus right now.
And now I take up the whole screen.
Oh, there's a big old Skype logo.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on here. Where's
we've done this so many times.
This one's a new one. It's like it's gotta hit me with something different every single time that something like this happens. It's just like, hey, you want a new challenge? All right, you fixed the last one. Well, guess what? I'm gonna do something different.
Oh, you're back. But now I lost you on my chat.
Oh.
Okay, now you're back on mine.
God.
But I don't know about the stream because that'll be back to photo. Oh, I'm big now. Oh, my lord.
Oh, wait. Oh.
Oh, Brandon, you didn't update the logo?
It does say episode 99. No, I forgot to switch the thing.
So hard to get that fixed within 30 seconds. Oh, now we got to adjust you and move you back.
I'm trying my best. I know, I just said that. I just said that.
Okay. Adjust you and move you back Yeah, 100th episode,
Victory!
couldn't have that get off and running smoothly. Now could
It's
we?
all right. I'll fix the other thing in real time. Don't you worry about it. Now you can kick things off. Now that we're
And
now that
here
we're
I
all
was going to
present
say,
on for.
I've looked through the demographics, and we have less than 3%
No,
of our viership is
it
under
would be
18. So
one
I
of
was going to
ours
say
if everything
maybe we just stop
worked.
caring about watching our language unless the chat says otherwise. Because
I mean, listen, in this, in this time, this day and age, I mean, it's
there
better
are a few
to err
people
on the
within our
side of
government. You should probably
caution
tell that
than
too.
it is to spout things off willy-nilly. We're not getting into discussion. No, not here.
We fixed
That's
it.
how no.
Yes,
Nope,
100
nope,
episodes.
Nope. Bait me with that. Also,
we
it's
started
now
with like a
episode 100
28-minute
in
episode, and
the
we've
actual
had
window,
like
so.
2-hour ones, and it's kind of turned
Yay!
into a lot more closer to an hour and a half.
Yeah. Oh, and apparently now I'm in Godzilla movie, so in other words, my
Again,
voice and
what'd
my
you do to fix that the
audio
last
is not,
time?
or my voice and my picture is not linked up. So it's just gonna be something.
Again. Uh,
Added the thing.
we'll try one more time.
So, yep.
Bye-bye, Brandon. Huber,
Trying
we're
it
not
one more
making
time.
those jokes yet. No. Bad. No, we're not going to talk about the Nickelback of White
we
Girl
totally
music.
can. We totally can.
Shake it off.
That's the joke that's already been made there, Caitlin.
I don't know. I don't have you on. Boring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, he said enough out of you, Peanut Gallery.
Everyone's
Enough out of you, Peanut Gallery.
Peanut Gallery. And the sneezing.
Do you want queso fries or not?
All right, so I might be mine still might be off. If it's off, I apologize. It's just gonna look like
Does it at least
weird
sound
Godzilla
fine?
movie.
That's the question. Because if it's unusable audio like before,
Yeah, if I sound okay, then at least it'll be okay for for the actual podcast portion.
whereas if the audio and video
So-
just isn't synced, well, that could be bad for the whole conversation part.
Of course, we won't know until
Okay, sounds okay.
it sounds okay. It sounds okay. It's
He's just lagging
off.
behind, so the conversation sounds normal, but then the video's just wrong. That's fine. Okay, I guess
Okay.
we can live with that.
As long as the just don't look at me. Just don't.
Yeah,
look
but then
at
they
me.
have to look at me, and that's not better.
Yes, it is.
You're biased, and shut up. Bad.
Woohoo!
Listen, I know I'm ugly. Okay, I accept that.
Look,
Anyway.
I'm just continuing my audition to join the Chrome Dome brothers on MASL Monday with the.
See, I got that
Thank
nice
you.
hair.
But they already have a bearded
Good
one,
genes.
so maybe I should just switch it up with just a twirly mustache if I could ever get that far without getting annoyed.
According to Steve, we're in sync now.
Okay.
So
Hey, whatever
we'll see
happens.
how long that lasts. Anyway, let's roll it while it's good.
100 episodes, well over 100 hours
Woo!
talking about Utica City soccer, and over that time we've covered 103 regular. Well, at the end of this one, we'll have covered the 104th and 105th regular season games. Throw in another 5 postseason games plus a couple.
Yep.
Plus a mini game or two there.
Yep.
That's
No, it has been it's been a heck of a ride, heck of a trip. on my favorite rocket ship.
Yeah, not gonna lie. After this one, I think we're just not gonna put up the episode number because 100 is the landmark.
100.
Maybe we'll try to remember something for like episode 200 or something. But
I mean, I feel like for posterity's sake, you might want to put up the episode number. That's just me.
yeah, I'll put it in the title. But
Fair.
all right. Well, I guess we'll get into the real thing here. Talk about the games this weekend.
Yeah.
Down in Texas.
It was an interesting weekend.
Mm-hmm.
A good weekend
Yeah,
overall.
we got the 6 points, but got a little hairy there at times.
You wouldn't know anything about hair.
That's where you're wrong, my friend. I live with someone
You
that
just have it in
sheds
the
like a
wrong
husky.
place.
Tell that to all the hair that I pluck. How many times have you clogged the vacuum or the drain? She broke the plumbing one time because her hair clogged it up so much.
It was fine. We were
Mm.
But 100th episode. Obviously, thank you for those that have followed us for all 6 years now, 5 seasons. COVID kind of put an end to it for a little bit. But if you're new here, because we only started streaming on Facebook last week,
Once I figured it out, that was
hey,
on me.
it is what it is. But we got it done. So give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment in the chat, let us know you're here on either one. We do interact with it. You can follow us on your favorite podcast app if you prefer to just listen to the audio instead of having to look at these two ugly mugs.
Yeah, seriously.
And we got that TeePublic store, which eventually maybe I'll get around to it. But man, I am burned out around work right now. It's just it's been a rough winter. Plus the snow that we keep getting, and it just doesn't stop.
Listen, it looks like an ice field out there right now. When I came in the house and it was just crunch, 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 crunch all the way to the door. And then I look outside and it's just a white sheen.
Hey, look, if they have the forecast right for tomorrow, which they probably don't because they've been missing their guesses this entire winter. The storm is going to stay south of you and I tomorrow. So yeah, we'll get a little bit.
We'll see how accurate that is.
We were supposed to get 3 to 5 out of this, and we barely got 2, but it's just ice on top. Huber, to answer your question, no, I have no idea. We still have not gotten a straight answer out of those in charge of us to tell us what the Fan Fest is, and we'll be talking about the All-Star stuff later tonight. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So 6 points. Games at Outlaw, games at Sidekicks. They won 5-3, and then 9-5 there. They Dolly Partoned it. You got that reference, right? You're not just like searching. You're just disappointed in me, right? That's the look that you're going for, Brandon. Oh, it went right over your head.
Yep.
Working 9 to 5.
I have no idea what. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
Okay.
Didn't even think about that. So, yeah, no, it went right over my head.
So yeah, the Dallas game.
Yeah,
was a little closer than we both predicted there, huh?
I mean, you were real close though on your prediction.
No, on the Sidekicks.
See, here's the thing.
Not on the. Sorry, I meant to say Texas.
Yeah, I was like, you said
I did
the
say
Dallas game.
Look, they're on top of each other.
I wasn't wrong.
Look, I've been to the DFW area. I was there for a conference for work some years ago, almost a decade ago at this point. Really, that's kind of depressing. But
if you're talking about the Outlaws
Yeah, the Outlaws
game,
game we were both way off on since that was the first one.
we were both way off. This was actually like, remember that defensive game that I talked about was going to happen against Milwaukee the weekend before? Yeah, that was this one. That's how this one felt, because, there was a lot of, it was another game where there was a lot of shooting on the field, but no capitalizing. I mean, yes, there was a lot of lane cutting for both sides. There was a lot of just, I don't know. This one just felt very much like the defensive affair that I expected the weekend before with Milwaukee, that we didn't get, and was the total opposite. And the first game was just...
Yeah, I mean, we were both expecting like a double-digit game from Utica, since the offense is supposed to be really good, and Dallas has given up. I keep doing that because they're on top of each other. Texas has given up like 10 goals 3 or 4 times into the season ahead of this game. And that was not what happened, but it seems like a good way to lead into our stat that tells the story for this one. Brandon, what do you got?
It's a good recovery. I appreciate that. That was you tried. I mean, I'll give you this. At least Dallas is in Texas, so it's not like you're just completely talking about a completely wrong place. So I mean, at least you got that going for you when you completely mess up which one you're talking about.
How often do I get the Blast and Heat backwards when we're talking about them, though?
Yeah.
Because we just play them back. They always get paired together. We're not going to the 2-1-4 and not playing both teams down there.
So, on the note of kind of how this was a more defensive affair, we always talk about the shots. We always talk about like in this game, it's funny because the shots almost perfectly align with the score, sort of, because you have 34 shots for Utica and 20 shots for the Outlaws. But if you also look at the blocked shots, not even so much the saves. I mean, both keepers actually came out of this with a pretty high save percentage. Both Riviera and Coughlin came out with over an 80% save percentage for this game, which is really good. So between that, and then I believe it was in total between the two sides, I want to say it was about 16 or 17 blocked shots. So between the blocks, between the saves, I mean, it just illustrates how much of a defensive game this really was. So in my mind, it's just, the combination of the saves and the blocked shots in comparison to the actual, shots on, sorry, not shots on goal, SOGs, since I know that's what Huber's referencing. He doesn't understand shots on goal. He understands SOGs. Everyone understands SOGs. So yeah, really, it's kind of two stats. Just the blocks and the saves. Very defensive game, very defensively focused. And it shows in the score sheet.
Yeah, as you mentioned, 34 shots for Utica. Coughlin had 11 saves on 13 or 14 shots. Looked really good.
Yep.
But for me, the stat that tells the story is Utica, for all those shots, they only managed 1 goal in the first half, which is what happened in the last game they played. They only managed 1 goal in the first half.
Why you gotta be negative?
And the first half's kind of been an issue this year. Talk about that a little later. But
we have trouble playing 60 minutes of soccer.
Yeah,
okay?
We're really good at playing a second half of soccer.
Yeah.
But yeah, just You come out against a team that, like we said, has not been good defensively, has not been great offensively, and you're flat for a lot of the first half.
Yeah, unfortunately.
They were about as enthusiastic in the first half as the broadcaster was.
Also,
Yeah.
on that note, we were only the Riggies for 2 games, guys. In case anyone else was wondering out there. We were not the Utica Riggies for this game. Just want to point that out. That got brought up a lot, that we were the Riggies. It's like, we were the Riggies for 2 games. It was a phase, okay? It was just a phase, Mom. Like, leave it there.
Hey, have you ever heard of the San Diego Shockers team?
Yeah, that was
We also got a new coach, Huerton Moiraira, and this Andrade guy was playing on the team, and Kelvin Olivierier.
He said it different every time, okay? It was never the same for Kelvin or...
Okay. So,
he did say Everton one time, I'm pretty sure.
I was baffled on this because you're presumably from the DFW area, or at least have lived there longer than 30 seconds. And they have a population in the millions with like 30% of it being Hispanic. And you can't pronounce any Hispanic name just by reading it.
Juan.
Hey, I was a big fan of that Alvalala.
Oh, it was painful. I don't mean to, like, to be clear, I'm not picking on the fact that he did this. It's just, it's one of those things that it's like, put some effort into the product you're putting out. If we want this league to succeed, the people that are our broadcasters are the people that are out in front of the people that are watching this. And if you're not putting forth an exciting product in this day and age, you are not going to help this league succeed. It is some of these broadcasters that are what's dragging down the product. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have other people like I literally blanked on everyone's name on Empire with Philly. You've got the Milwaukee
co-broadcasters.
I'll be honest, I remember his name, and then all I remember is his nickname, which is Scarf.
Okay. Oh, okay, it's the guy from the LAFC podcast that he does.
Yes. And I mean, Kansas City has a great broadcasting team. Milwaukee has a great broadcasting team. Baltimore sometimes has a good broadcasting team. Like, even I would have rather watched Harrisburg's, who he can be a little dry, but he has some excitement to him. This one, if you're putting this out in front of people, we all want this league to succeed, and I just feel like we're not putting out the best product across the league. San Diego's team, even they're good. Like, yeah, a lot of these, a lot of them are obviously more Homer-y, but they still put out an exciting, good product. And some of them fall short of that. And that's what drags the league down. That's what makes viewership go down for new viewers. It's like, I feel like I'm watching golf with how lackadaisical they can be with their announcing.
Yeah, I mean, we...
My tire, yes. I remember that.
We got to have Ray Biggs carry us solo for a few years, but yes. I really think broadcasts are better when you have a color commentary guy on there as well. And Agreed. You could tell it was lacking desperately in this.
He needed someone to bounce off of. So
Yeah.
a lot of these single ones need someone to bounce off of. Like someone who may not know that much about it, but can be entertaining. So
Just get us a little back and forth going, have some fun, and read the pronunciation guides that the teams are putting out.
please.
Play that changed this game. Could you think of anything? I had one.
The only one. Okay. I'm gonna laugh. It's the same. Go for it.
Everton's successful challenge that overturned a tying goal in the first quarter.
Not the one I had, but yes, I did make note of that we did overturn a goal. However, the only reason that I didn't say that it changed the game is the fact that they went on a 3-goal scoring streak after that anyway. So, yes, it would have been 4-1 if that had been the case, and maybe we wouldn't have been able to come back from that. But, yeah, I mean, I guess, all right, I give you that one.
Suppressed as the offense was in the first half, a 1-goal game is very manageable. A 2-goal game, we've seen how that can go either way in the past 2 games against Milwaukee.
Yep. A 3-goal game would have been really tough. Yeah. No, that's a fair assessment. So I didn't really think about it that way, that it could have been 4-1. Mine was a bit more simple. Just what really I felt like kind of fired the guys up in the second half was Nilton getting that open netter. Jumping up on the board, celebrating. Like, you don't see a lot of these guys pop off like that. So when they got that quick steal and just the cheeky little chip, I mean, it really, you could see that it fired up the rest of the guys around him, which allowed them to continue the scoring streak. I'm glad that somebody agrees with me. And the fact that he did it again later on the 6th attacker was pretty great. I mean, that's something we don't see a lot from him, is a quick steal and a nice little chip. We saw a few good steals with him, honestly, in this game. Like, he was doing pretty well. I was quite impressed with how many steals off the foot he was getting by himself. So he was doing good this game. I was pretty happy with that. But that's what kind of led the charge for me, for them to take the lead and run with it.
Yeah, that's a valid point. The only thing I picked the challenge just because it seemed to stick out the most to me. Just, hey, we had a successful challenge, and it was a big one that took away a goal. Considering how many challenges we've lost due to bad camera angles or lack thereof.
So think about this. Take that successful challenge and take the challenge that never happened. Those two would have balanced each other out. You know exactly which one I'm talking about. The header in the second quarter that was clearly in the goal, that got headed out of the goal, that should have been a goal, but refs were not in the proper position to be able to observe it. A challenge would have meant nothing because there wasn't a proper camera angle for us to be able to say definitively that it crossed the line. So with that, and with the successful challenge, those 2 goals, one getting taken away from them, one getting taken away from us, balance out. That's how I look at it.
That's fair.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to the second quarter with about 13:36 remaining in the second quarter, and you'll see what I'm talking about. That literally got headed out of the goal by a player. Don't remember who it was.
No.
But yeah.
But Utica came from behind. They got the 3 points. They finished it with an empty netter. It's got really all I want to talk about on this game, because we'll back, 2 games in a weekend. We're going to do the what needs to improve and positive takeaways together.
Yeah, we can kind of combine those for the weekend. Again.
It tends to be the best way to do it. Because
agreed.
Then we move on to Monday. And
weird Monday games.
You know what? It works for almost every other league around the country.
But I wanted to watch I was torn. I had to watch that and my Monday Night Wrestling.
Oh.
Don't judge me.
You choose.
No, you don't pick and choose. You watch both.
How'd you fit in MASL Mondays?
Yeah, I don't watch that.
Well,
what do you want me to? You want me to lie?
you had Goals and Boards, MASL Monday, and a Utica game all on Monday.
I watch Goals and Boards after the fact. Which I know they're not going to be too happy because of the Players of the Week.
Yeah.
Because I know that Brad was definitely pulling for, and I agree with him. Brad was absolutely pulling for Julian, and I mean I agree with that. But anyway, off topic.
So the Dallas game. I just want to just Jackie in the Facebook chat real quick. We will be talking about the defense in a little bit. I have it on my rundown.
Definitely get that.
But the Dallas game ended up 9-5. It was a better game. It was 9-3 before Dallas, tacked on a couple late ones. But your stat tells the story. Well, I let you go first last time. I'll go first on this one.
I was gonna say I don't need to go first every time.
Stat tells the story in this one for me. Utica got goals from 6 different players, and 8 different players collected points. One of the problems that we've said is too much is falling to Kelvin, who still had his hat trick, his 6th in 8 games.
Oh yeah, yes, he did.
But other guys showed up. Nilton again, Vinny again. Cole Stevens had one. Keaton finally got one again.
Listen, Cole Stevens balanced the scales for himself. He gave one to them, and he also scored one. So he balanced the scale for himself.
And on that Keaton one, I just want to point out, if you go back and watch it, because the Utica social media was like, Keaton does it all by himself, and he did like 90% of that by himself. Absolutely, It was a great job beating 2 defenders.
Oh yeah, no, it was very good.
Watch at the end. Kelvin runs across the box, gets in front of that defender, and plants himself and sets a screen. Opens up enough space for Keaton to get a shot off between the two, and he buries it. They screened the goalie on that. He screened a defender. It's one of those off-ball plays where if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss that high IQ talent.
Yep. He may have scored the goal without anyone else touching it, but he probably might not have scored that goal if it weren't for the action of Calvin doing what he did to assist without the actual stat of the assist. Yeah, 100. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, it's great to see these other guys, though, contribute, since that secondary scoring has been a major issue this year.
Yes, they are absolutely. We haven't seen much from Pinal in a little bit, but that's because these other guys are stepping up. Pinal has gone a little bit silent, but we've been seeing the Niltons that we've expected. We've been seeing a little bit of life from Keaton. I still want to see more. Even Berger's stepping up. I mean, like, just different goals from different talent coming through, and I like that. Like you said, I didn't like the beginning of the year where it's a funnel and everything goes through Calvin. That's not good.
Yeah. So, what's your your stat on this one?
So, I was kind of trying to think about it, and it's not so much, it doesn't necessarily tell the story, but it kind of talks about how you and I have mentioned sort of like a lack of cards this season. This was another game that was just clean. Like, this was all even strength stuff. No advantages for either side. No, no shootouts, no penalty kills, no power plays, nothing. This was just a straight up brawl between these two teams. And stepping toe to toe, I mean, at first, just like the past couple games, we started off slow, and then it's like we're an exotic car that doesn't exactly have a lot of horsepower in it. Once it gets up to speed, you're not catching it, but it takes a little bit to get up there. And I feel like that's where we're at. We're not like that muscle car that, has the heavy horsepower that can just get out of the gate quick.
Yeah, that's going to come up in our just a little bit down the road here.
Yeah, I kind of figured. But yeah, I mean, for me, there wasn't a ton that stood out to me, other than what you've kind of already said. Other than the fact that it was just a clean game. It didn't have, although, speaking on a clean game, obviously, you also have to think about. I guess I technically also kind of have to bring up the one injury that was a little scary, and I hope that I'm gonna butcher his name, but one of the Romeros,
Isai Romero,
Isai,
yeah.
I hope he's okay, because that was a no contact injury, and he just buckled and went down, and then I mean the fact that they had to bring the stretcher out and everything. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, obviously, we wish him the best. I'm just no insider information. This is just from years of watching sports. Watching the way his leg buckled like that, I'm kind of leaning Achilles.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be an easy road back.
No. So I just, like I said, I hope he's okay. So just wanted to say that.
Play that changed the game?
I was trying to find one. I really, really was. Because, I mean, I didn't really have anything that necessarily stuck out to me in this one. I mean, this was just one of those things that it felt like the past few. We go down by 1 or 2. In this case, we went down by 1. And then we just rallied and came back and just started scoring. I don't know if I really... I don't know if I really have one that stuck out to me
The only one I picked up on was the Cole Stevens own goal. And the only reason that I say that changed the game is because we could have gone into the first half with a lead, or gone into the second half with a lead. Instead, we ended it tied.
Yep.
At the end of the day, it didn't change it a whole lot, but it's still something that you'd like to see cleaned up again. It's just
more kind of talking on the defense. So, which we'll get to.
So, what do we think needs to improve coming out of this weekend? Because I think we've talked about it quite a few times already here, and I think we're going to be in agreement. It's the slow starts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, those are going down by 2 and then have it 1 or 2 and then having to battle our way back. Sometimes we're just not going to be able to battle our way back because of who we're going against, and because they're not going to let us battle back. So these, going down onesie twosies, it's gonna bite us. So yeah, definitely the slow starts.
Yeah. You want to know how slow they've been?
I knew you'd have the stats.
Oh, come on. You know I got to have the numbers.
You are the stat man after all.
In the first half, Utica has allowed 33 goals while scoring only 26. If the game's ended after the first 30 minutes, we would be 3-6-2. Obviously, those two are ties.
Mm-hmm.
It is hard to win games when you dig holes that consistently.
Diggy diggy hole.
Okay. No need for windrows in this.
But I am a dwarf.
No. I had that song stuck in my head a week ago. I don't need it back. Kate will put it there if she hears it. Bad, Brandon. God Stanley, the man, the myth, the legend. Anyway,
just felt like throwing that
you got
out
the comparison
there.
for the second half. So we have a negative
Yes.
7 goal differential in the first half, plus 18 in the second half. We've scored 49 times, almost twice as much. We've allowed 31 goals, pretty even, consistent defense.
Okay.
And obviously, we're at 6-4-1 with 19 points on the season because of the second halves.
That seems to be when we're coming alive, and it kind of goes back to we really could use 60 minutes of soccer, not just 30 minutes in the second half. Although, maybe with one game, maybe we'll get 60 minutes instead, because they don't have to span it across 2 days.
Maybe. We'll see. But we're almost halfway through the season, so that's got to get changed pretty quickly.
Yes. There's still some things on defense that, need to be cleaned up. I mean, and actually, I'm going to amend that. There are still some things, even on the offense, that need to be cleaned up. I mean, there's still some miscommunications that we're seeing, which are going to happen. But if we can see them less, that'd be good, because there's been we're still seeing a good bit of errant passes. We're still seeing people not being where they need to be at when they need to be there.
The lackadaisical pass from Santana that got picked off for an empty net goal.
I mean, we saw that with what happened with Coughlin, with Milwaukee. We saw that with Santana, and along with that, I mean, you also have a lot of whiffs. We had a few of them this weekend again. Just whiffing on the ball. It's like I don't know if the guys are picking their head up before they are going for the ball or what, but just minor things to clean up. But I feel like we're getting there. There have been improvements, and we have to call out the fact that there have been improvements. But can always ask for more.
Yeah. Especially considering what we were hoping to see at the start of the season versus what we've seen so far.
Yes.
It's the off season comes, and half the time it's like all those improvements we saw last year disappeared, and we're starting from the same point again. Positive takeaways.
I mean, we obviously a nice positive takeaway, of course, is that we came out of the weekend with 6 points. It's not like we split the weekend. We didn't, go into overtime and win. We came out with 6 points. That was good. I think the other positive takeaway is just, again, like you talked about with your stat that told the story for the second game. We saw a lot of action from a lot of guys that we haven't been seeing a lot of action from. We've been able to see more from like Vinny. We've been able to see Nilton starting to pick things up, and just being able to see some of these other guys get on the board. Rashad Amati got pulled up and got his first career goal. That was great. We also got to see Cole Stevens get on the board. It's just again, we're spreading the goals around. We're not just in that funnel at the moment. and we've wanted to see that because we cannot just rely on Calvin for everything. So
Yeah,
I think that's a big positive takeaway, is just seeing more action from more guys.
My takeaway is that, Calvin kind of broke out of that mini slump, if you'll call it that, where he was only held to 1 goal in back-to-back games.
Yeah.
But Vinny has now scored in 3 straight games, and Nilton has 6 goals over the past 4.
Yeah, the guys are
starting to
up.
heat up a little bit. Hopefully that's just the chemistry of adding new pieces finally getting worked out.
And not just being down in Texas where it's warm.
But overall, defensively, this team has been much better than they were last year. We're allowing under 6 goals per game, which last year we were allowing like 7 goals a game.
Yeah, we definitely had a higher average.
So
last
that
season.
is absolutely a positive to take this far into the season. As much as we harp on defense, it's still not where I want it to be. For the listeners that haven't been with us, last year I pointed out that no team except last year's Chihuahua team had allowed more than, I think it was like 4.5 goals per game and won the championship. And they were just barely over by like fractions of a goal.
So to actually, no, that was how many we had each game. I was just looking at last season, because we had about 8 goals average per game, not how many we allowed. So it doesn't seem like that's recorded. I mean, the goals
go
against
to the
average
standings for last year. That's where you'll find it.
It'll
say total goals, and just divide that by 24.
I'll have that in a minute.
I got you. Because no, we scored a lot more though last year. We've fallen off offensively, and hopefully it'll pick up a little bit. But as Saturday's game against Texas showed, we haven't quite figured things out as a team yet.
Yeah. We had about 6.5 goals allowed per game last season. So compare that to this season. Now, granted, we're not a full season in, but let's see. So we have 64 goals across 11 games.
5.8 something.
5.8. Yeah. So it's not much of a change, but it is a change. I mean, that is a fairly substantial change in the grand scheme if we can maintain it or potentially improve it further. So
yeah. The Braves said we have climbed up to 6 in the standings, but kind of like Nick said in the YouTube chat, with the roster we have, we really should be top 5, top 4.
You'd think that with who we have on our roster, if everyone was firing on all cylinders every single game for 60 minutes, I think we would be a lot higher in the standings right now.
Like, I mean, you want to talk defensively. I don't know, calling them out, if you will, but Gio again in the box, kind of holding someone with his back to the ball, and it led to giving up a goal.
Yes, it did.
Yep. That's like the 3rd time this year where a goal has happened or a play, and he's been, backs to the ball because he's grappling his guy. You put your back to him, your arms are out, you're boxing them out. So that way your eyes are on the ball, and you can just glance over your shoulder and see them with your peripherals.
Exactly. Yep.
But
there's just but here's the thing. You talk about Gio defending, he's also, I mean, he is a midfielder, so he kind of has to do both. But, I mean, that also kind of plays into how this team is built. This team is built for an offensive heavy team. So offensive principles are driven home more than defensive principles. So, that is something that definitely should change, is just, okay, we know these guys are really good on offense. Let's make sure that we're putting maybe a little bit extra time into the defense, just to make sure that we are prepared. Because obviously, a lot. I saw, who was it? I saw Dantas. He was back basically being a Jake Schindler there for a few minutes in, I want to say, the Outlaws game, since that's the one I watched most recently. He was not pushing forward. He was back all the way to the boards playing heavy defense, and that kind of stuff helps when it's productive. So I think that we just need to drill defense a little bit more to make sure that we're not giving up silly mistakes just because of mispractice for our.
At the same time, we got to get these guys firing offensively.
Yes, we do.
Gio, Ronnie, Keaton, Isak, they've all kind of been MIA for a good chunk of the season.
Yes.
So,
unfortunately,
there's still a lot of work to do. There's 13 games to get it done.
Yep. So there's time, but there's no time like the present. Like, let's get it done now and then carry it through for the rest of the season.
All right, so we got those 6 points. Before we talk about tomorrow's game against Baltimore, let's just touch on the All-Star game, since that's next Wednesday.
Yeah.
We have our team draft. That was Tuesday night. Ray Biggs was back. He will be doing the broadcast on Wednesday. All excited about that.
Love Biggsy.
But Team Calvin, coached by Everton Moreira. Team Pereira, coached by Stefan Stokic. And we'll just run down the rosters here. In blue, based on how the graphics are, since we still haven't seen what the All-Star jerseys are going to look like.
Right.
Team Calvin, at forward, Kelvin Olivieri, Alex Saucy Sanchez, Vinny Dantas, Juan Pereira, not so big Papi David Ortiz, Leo Acosta,
I hate it here.
Gordy Gerson, Marco Fabian, Nilton De Andrade. On defense, Super Mario Alvarez, Juan the Prince of Lava, Stefan Mijatovic, and Pat Thompson. And then
I like those last two. Just saying, having those two on the same team. Oh, that just sounds so good.
And then in net we have Andrew Coughlin and Nicolau Neto. And then for Team Pereira, on offense, you have the captain, Nick Pereira, Brian Marquez, who, if we remember last year, was my favorite tackle in the postseason because of his Dragon Ball Z celebrations, made it really easy as a fellow DBZ nerd. Justin the Stinger Stinson, Will.i.am Eske, Dom Francis, the kid from Kenosha, Zach Reggett, Ian Bennett, Jonatas Mello, Peter Pan, Joey Tavernese. As for defense, I'm going to pronounce this right because even their broadcaster was getting it wrong. Christian Quintana. It's not Quintana. Chad Vandergriff, Nacho Flores, Dylan Hundelt. Yes. And then in net, you have Chris Toth and Willie B.
Willie B. don't get me wrong, I was a little sad that we didn't get, say, like Joey over to Team Calvin or Willie B over to Team Calvin, but I'm not upset with our picks. I mean, there's really, obviously people are going to pick a team to root for, and I mean, listen, there's people on both of these teams that I absolutely love, but I got to go Team Calvin on this one. Like, they're both really good teams, and I'm just flat out saying I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm saying I'm rooting for them because I mean they have two of my favorite players.
That's not going to just be because it's the entire Utica roster.
No, it's actually not. Like the fact that we have Marco Fabian, the fact that Pat Thompson, Steph, I have a lot of people on that. I have a lot of people on both teams that I freaking adore. Like some of these guys are just great. So I think it's gonna be fun regardless. I'm kind of just rooting for Sogs. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Like,
so this is, I mean, it's gonna come down to how realistically they play this game. Because this easily could go 14, 15, 19, 20, if you're just kind of taking it easy and letting offense do offense.
Mm-hmm.
And if the defenders are focusing on offense a little more, because it's an all-star game. It's, we've seen what the NBA does. We've seen whatever the Pro Bowl is these days.
Yeah.
But if they try, if guys are going for, doing their best, I'm giving the edge to Team Pereira. And the reason being is the goal minders.
Yeah. I could totally agree with you on that.
I might get skinned alive for this in Utica, but I would argue that Pereira with Toth got the number 1 goalkeeper and number 2 goalkeeper with Willie B.
Yeah.
I'd put Coughlin 3, Neto 4. That's not a knock on these guys. They're all stars for a reason. But Toth is still one of the best in the league, even at his advanced age. And he's got a pretty good defense in front of him.
Countering that, however, we do have on Team Calvin 1, 2, 3 of the top 5 point scorers in the league. Not goals,
points,
but points. Because we have Calvin
Sanchez,
we have Marco Fabian, Alex Sanchez. So I mean, we've got 3 of the top 5 points leaders in this league on one team. So yes, they might have. It's gonna be a battle.
It's gonna be fun.
It's going to if they take it serious, which I doubt, because it's a game that means nothing. We all know that. It's a game for fun. A what if game basically. It's going to be a very offensive affair, and it's going to come down to how many goals the goalkeepers can really realistically stop. Because I mean, there's not much defense on either one of these teams. It is an offensive showcase,
and it might not even be a full game. Looking at the timesheet they put out, the FanFest is supposed to start at 8:00, which I don't know if that just means they're opening it up at 8:00. I still don't even know where that's going to be or what it is, and I'm in the building, so communication's going great right now.
Yeah.
But that sounds kind of like they might borrow from the Kings League here and give us 2 20-minute halves with a running clock.
Yeah. Which I'm fine with. I mean, why not? Like, don't go with the normal formula. Switch it up. Why not? Let's do something different.
Post-game fan fest, just go get to meet the All-Stars, get some autographs. There's a great chance, because a lot of these guys haven't come to Utica before. No.
Also, just a comment real quick. Nick, I'm actually going to be in the beer garden myself. I don't have a bunker, but I'm going to be in the beer garden for the All-Star game. So
There were a lot of Jack. I got the dice ready. I would like to nominate myself to take the president's penalty.
It's gonna be a fun
fun.
game.
Yeah.
It's gonna.
If you don't have your seats yet, a lot of open seats. Get your tickets. I know it's a Wednesday night, which makes it a little tough. I know the rosters aren't exactly ideal because Chihuahua and San Diego had a bow out because of travel issues getting there. Getting there and then getting to their game on Friday night south of the border. All kinds of
Sorry, I was laughing at the
goals.
last comment.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta keep your head on a swivel. You don't want to get concussed like someone in the stands.
Yeah. Yeah, don't get concussed again, Huber.
Yeah, should be a great time.
Agreed.
Other than that, we'll talk tomorrow night. And the night that you and I were both not exactly excited about as far as promotions go.
Just shake it off.
The joke's been made twice already. We're not making it again.
I enjoyed the video that they put out today.
Did you?
Andrew's having to reference 5 different songs. I enjoyed that. I had a good chuckle out of that. If you haven't seen it, you need to go check it out.
I wouldn't be able to recognize 5 references. Unless he just said shake it off 5 times.
He didn't just say shake it off 5 times. It was, referenced a few different songs, but yeah.
Yeah, no, this stuff's not my.
I'm not a Swiftie either.
Oh, I mean, like, this genre of music isn't my choice to listen to, so. Like, Kendrick Lamar's playing the Super Bowl on Sunday, and the last song that I think came out, I might have my chronological order here backwards, that I listened to him on, was like off of Eminem's Marshall Mathers LP2, or he was featured on the YOLO song by The Lonely Island.
Oh my God, Lonely Island. I would say that I haven't heard them in a while, but I literally just listened to Like a Boss the other day, so
I'm on a boat in regular rotation.
Like a Boss.
We won't quote anything else from that song.
No, we won't. But
it's on par with Natalie's.
We're just gonna go. We're just gonna go with Like a Boss. We're just gonna say that over and over and over.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of stuff to make this interesting for the Swifties in the area, and make it torture for those of us who just don't care for her in the slightest. But I will get my revenge when hopefully 3,000 fans are there wearing Hawaiian shirts.
-1.
But this game, must win, right? It's Baltimore.
I think this really needs to be a must win.
You can't get swept at home by the Blast. And the other 2 games were 1-goal games. One of them lost in the final minute. So, do we got predictions for this one? Because we split on the weekend here, this last one. You got Saturdays since it was lower scoring and I had the higher scoring. And I got Mondays since I was off by 1 total goal.
Yeah, I was like, I had the spread, but you had the closer goals. Mm-hmm. So all I needed was 1 more from us and 1 more from them, and I was So here's how I see this one shaking out. Looking at like availability, both teams haven't reported anything, so we have nothing to go on for either Baltimore or Utica. We don't know if we're going to have Gordy, for instance. I know he's been kind of a healthy scratch a couple times, or as far as we know, a healthy scratch. Could have something to do with the fact that he's, working, coaching Krasnick as well. So that could have a little bit of influence there.
Speaking of Gordy, we need to give a congratulations. I don't know if you saw on his Instagram. He is, hold on, chug, hydrate or dihydrate.
Sorry. Real talking too much.
He and his fiance are expecting a daughter.
I did see that. Yes, congratulations. Nope, that is awesome.
There's a future for when Utica wants to get a women's team.
Yes. Bring them up right. Back to the subject at hand. So, for sure that although they have not played against him, Baltimore's going to be coming into this with a plan to deal with Calvin. Whether that means that they're going to be attempting to lock him down, which has only been successful a couple of times. It seems like, even when teams attempt to lock him down, he only is locked down when he wants to be, or when he allows it. Because, he just has shown that he can break out against basically anyone in just about any numbers. And you also have to balance that with the fact that, as we said this past weekend, more of our guys are starting to come into the score sheet. So, even if they focus on him, there are now others that are coming around and showing up. Balancing us doing better with the fact that they are on the cusp of a 10-game win streak. They are not going to want to lose that. They've only lost, one game this season away. I think I was just looking at the standings, and I'm pretty sure, they have lost one. They've undefeated at home, which I'm assuming you were just about to say, and they have lost one on the road.
And they've won 9 straight.
Yes. So they're going to want this. They're going to be hungry for this. I know that a certain goalkeeper that we know and love is very up to the challenge of going against Calvin, but I get the feeling they're going to be starting Zierhofer on this one. Just making sure they got that veteran talent on there. And as long as they have a full roster, which, we haven't seen, like, Diegues, for instance. Haven't seen him in a while. I'm not sure what's going on there. But regardless, the people that they have do well. And it doesn't seem to matter this season where they are playing, considering they've still only lost the one away game. So I think this is going to be... I think this one's going to be close. I think it's going to be pretty high scoring. Maybe not the All-Star game high scoring, but I think this one's going to be a high scoring game. It's going to come down to goalkeeping and limiting your mistakes. And that's where we're going to suffer. So, because I'm a homer, I am going to absolutely go with Utica coming out on top. But I could see this one going to overtime. And I could see it being an 8-7 in overtime.
Okay.
Between these two teams. What?
You remember how we had the exact same spread, just slightly shifted in Texas?
If you say you're going to go with like a 9-8 or something, That's literally what I was going to say was my score, and then I said, I'll go a
Oh,
little
you should have gone
lower.
higher. I'd feel better about mine because we're really tight right now. No, honestly, looking at the leaderboards, I'm expecting Julian in goal. He leads the league at 3.77 goals allowed. He's second in the league with a 765 save rate. And he's tied 5 wins. Zierhofer 5 wins.
Yeah.
Plus, he did very well for them the last time they played here.
He's come into his own. Like he's a good keeper, and you know, he may have a history in Utica that he'll never live down. I'm not going to play the clip again because it's really freaking loud. But you know, and I know you listen, and I know you know what I'm talking about. So,
but
yeah,
So I also have a 1-goal game. Not
regulation or overtime?
regulation.
Okay.
Utica's had such bad luck in the final minute of games. It has to break at some point. So I have Utica taking this one 7-6.
So if we go to overtime, does that mean I win by default, regardless of the score?
I don't know. We haven't really thought of that rule yet. I was just going closest score.
Yeah, I know. I'm just
so if
trying
it's
to
lower
take,
scoring, it's me. If it's higher scoring, it's you.
I'm just trying to tip the scales in my favor.
Well, right now you have a 6-5 lead, so.
Yeah, that's hey, you know what? I'll take whatever advantage I can get. If it means that I'm tipping the scale, just putting my finger on the scale just a little bit, you know, I'm gonna do it.
But yeah, you gotta win this. Gotta win this. Gotta go into the All-Star game on a high.
And it's our only game of the weekend, so we really need to see a full 60 minutes from these guys, and this full 60 minutes of effort. I mean, you know, our next game is, you know, away, and then the next couple are going to be interesting, so which we'll talk about when they come about.
Yeah, let's I'll have to see what my schedule looks like next week, because sounds like I might be working Thursday, so we won't have our usual night, and obviously with games before, so maybe we'll let me find out what this FanFest thing is all about and how late 72 is staying open and whatnot. Maybe you and I see about trying to grab a couple players and do some lives from the post.
That'll be interesting.
Could be,
as long as we, you know, we won't have our our fancy microphones and stuff like that, but
we could certainly make it work.
Yeah, we absolutely could. We'll see what happens. If we can make it happen,
we'll make it happen.
We'll do what we can.
You know, we do know there's a certain player that's going to be there. We've been trying to get on, and just scheduling has not worked out. So,
yes, if it's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Yes, because I've talked to him about it too, but then I don't know. I leave the scheduling stuff. I leave the arranging that stuff to you. You just you got the connection. You're there.
The fact that I went from having a set schedule last year to this floating one this year has really thrown a wrench in things. And you know, I apologize for that, but
how dare you?
You know, talk to the boss.
See what I have to work with, people. See what I have to work with.
You want to talk to my boss?
Guy.
Be my guest. So yeah, we're gonna take Utica to win. Hopefully, we'll have a good All-Star game. Oh, did not mean to do that. I stretched.
Yeah.
Pretty on.
Like I'm just gonna say this. I'm just gonna come right out and say it. Like, we try not to sound like homers when we're talking about this stuff, but it is the Keeper's Corner podcast. Like, we are talking specifically about Utica City, and we're both Utica City fans, obviously. So we're going to be a bit of homers, especially when it comes to our predictions. Which reminds me, I did find out I'm going to be picking up my Ricky's jersey tomorrow.
Nice.
So, oh yeah.
Yeah. No, we've never done.
Excited to have another jersey that I can't fit in.
Never done anything crazy like make custom fan jerseys or get the crest tattooed on my body or anything like that.
Yeah, I still won't do that ever.
Yeah,
we would have to win the championship for me to do that.
Okay, you guys heard it here first. Utica gets the Ron Newman Cup. Brandon's going to get the crest and the cup tattooed on his ass.
No. I do that and you're getting on your bald head.
I mean, sure, they can all sign my bald head and we'll get that tattooed.
Yeah. It's got to be a little ring around your head.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
We're getting
that would
off topic here.
Painful.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, we'll sign off then. We'll let you know when our next show is, when we can figure things out. And, everyone enjoy Taylor Swift tomorrow as much as you can, or hate every moment of it as much as you can.
And, if we come out with a loss, unfortunately, everybody's just going to have to shake it off.
Okay, that's tired and overplayed. Just like that song.
Listen, okay? We don't need bad blood between us, all right?
Around the same time, a comedian, musical artist named Bo Burnham put out a song called Repeat Stuff, and it sums up that song perfectly. America says we love a chorus, but don't get complicated and bore us. Though meaning might be missing, I need to know the words after just one listen. So repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff, repeat stuff. Yeah, repeat it. And on that note...
So you're saying this isn't a love story?
See, that just triggers a Bon Jovi song in my head called This Ain't a Love Song.
Listen, okay, you've put me on this podcast. I mean, look what you've made me do here. Don't blame me for all of these corny jokes, okay?
You know more than I do already about the subject of tomorrow's game, so...
I don't have a Google page up. I promise you. Mm-hmm. I have heard a few of these, but,
okay.
Anyway, I'm done. Moving on.
Brandon is our resident Swiftie. Go Utica and Sogs. God. Have a good night, everybody.
Sogs. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Keeper's Corner podcast on whatever podcast app you use. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. If you'd like to interact with us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter or X, whatever you prefer to call it. We have a TeePublic shop where you can get UCFC player swag or help support the podcast. Thank you. We appreciate it. And one last thing. Go Utica City.